All right, welcome to the extended cut for those of you on the second channel, whatever that's named. Don't know about that yet. This is the second, third time I'm recording, whatever. Anyways, we have a Game Boy Color to mod. This says it's got a D-pad issue on here. Don't worry about it. This one's gonna be for me, so that's why I kept it for me, because I'm probably not gonna end up playing this one. Let's be real. Either way, we need to take this apart. So let's get out our tri-wing screwdriver, our handy dandy tri-wing screwdriver. There's 6 of them in the normal spots. 2 up here, 2 in the middle, and 2 in the battery compartment. And now I will awkwardly fill the void of talking for those of you on the second channel, because I don't really know what else to do here. I guess I'll edit this for the second channel first, right? And then take what I need, cut it down to what I need for the main channel. I don't know. I don't know how these extended cuts are gonna go. It's uncharted waters here, new grounds, new territory. I really am just feeling the void because I can't stand the awkward silences, knowing that I'm probably not going to cut much of this. But there's all 6 of those. Am I even in frame? I didn't even check that. Wow. Okay. And taking that off, I'm just going to leave these screws in here because we're probably going to have some new screws somewhere in this shell. Now we can swap to a Phillips head. This is a PH1, the Phillips 1. Technically, it's JIS, if you really care that much. But there are 1, 2, 3 Phillips screws here. And we'll take those out. We'll put those over on the grid here just because, why not? Doesn't make much of a difference to me. And there we go. Those 3 are out. And we can lift up these tabs over here. You push these 2 tabs up with your thumbs. Maybe pulling will be a little easier. There we go. And then I like to take my screwdriver and pull it out like that. And then we can pull the motherboard out by the cart slot. And oh my gosh, everything is cleaned and ready. And this is why it stays for the second channel, or for me. This is why this Game Boy Color is staying with me and not being sold, because I was having some issues with the D-pad. So I tried some solder on it. People say that's really bad to do because it'll oxidize faster than the gold. Well, it was already pretty oxidized and dying anyways, so I don't really see the problem with doing it. But either way, that's neither here nor there. Actually, it's right here. Anyways, this is another great thing. You can see all the failed jokes that I cut from the main channel. Good for you, not for me. It's only a little embarrassing. Like that. That's a little embarrassing, and I want to cut it now. But anyways, hey, I'm not talking to you, Siri. Thank you, though. We can open up our bag, see what goodies they have in here. I bought this off of AliExpress, and it comes with a plastic lens that I don't care about. There you go. And it comes with not the best sticker. Okay, but this is actually a pretty clean, pretty decent shell. It is pre-trimmed for us. It comes with the necessary pads, and it comes with a trimmed up D-pad and the rest of its buttons. Yes, a trimmed up D-pad. So if you want to do this without buying a new shell, if you want to reuse a shell, you're going to have to trim up down here, up here, and part of this D-pad circle here. Okay, I'm going to cut some things. If I mess up, you don't want to hear me do it take like 20 times, right? That's what I thought. And some of you just said yes, and I hate you for that. You will have to cut through the D-pad as well, not just the shell. So let's get that out, and I'll show you. In this little bag here, we have an IR sensor or an IR port cover that doesn't actually work. So I would use your original one. But yeah, this is cut. So when it goes in there, it doesn't knock the screen. And that's honestly kind of poorly cut. One of those 2 cuts is off. We'll see if I have to do any more. That's why I do it for you. And yes, almost all of these tutorials I do for the first time in the recording. First and only time. I don't know if I'll ever do this one again. It's very interesting from the listing. But we also have our rubber membranes in here. How do I open this? I see the like glue line, but it's like not. There we go. It's not giving me an edge to pull on. That just flew all the way across the table. I'll grab that later. Frustratingly, I will grab that later. I will forget, and I'll be like, dang it, and I have to get up. Calling it right now. But here's everything that the shell comes with, minus the start and select membrane that flew across the room. And in here is our mod kit. Now, I have another lens over here because this looks closer to the original than this does. I don't really care for the colors on this. The berry's a little more pink, and the blue is not quite the teal color. Dandelion's all right. That's not really a lime color. The purple's too dark here. Plus, this is black, and normally that looks good, but I'm kind of trying to go for like a low-key look, a sleeper build, if you will. So we're going to go with the gray one. This is a high-speed Ito kit, which, you know, I like high-speed Ito if you're a fan of the channel. And it is the same V2 screen that we know and love on this channel. This is typically what we put in the GBA on Mod Monday. If it's not the laminated one, it's this screen, but we've got a different motherboard for it, or daughter board, I guess. This is interesting because it's pretty lazy. Just going to call them out for it right now. I probably put this in the, what's it called? The scripted part of the video where I don't have awkward pauses where I have to think about things. But I'm not going to try and put that in yet. It says L, R, and select in ground. You still don't need ground for whatever reason, but select in L and R. You can put these to any buttons you want, in all honesty. I don't know how often you're going to be holding down select and pressing another button in a game. I can't think of any games that do that off the top of my head, but I'm sure there's a few, maybe. I don't know. But I just found that to be interesting that they probably just reworked this enough, like just barely enough for it to work with the Game Boy Color. I'm sure it's not that much different. We're going to start with just the screen. I'm going to put that down, and we're going to peel our insulating film. Put that down. The most important part to cover is this bottom part and this side here, because that's where our motherboard is going to go. And it's really hard to capture this every time I do it. And I clip it in. Maybe. Okay, I'm going to move the mic over here. And you can clip this in like that. I'm really sorry if you can't see that very well. I can't really see it very well. There we go. Eventually, it'll go in like a Lego brick. That's what my mate Vince says. So he calls those Lego connectors. I don't know if that's actually what they're called. Probably should have done the soldering first. But yeah, we will just fold this out. If you haven't connected it yet, don't connect it yet. God, this is awkward. Okay, I'm just going to undo it. Okay. Let's actually start with some soldering first. Now, this is completely optional. I still get comments all the time on my channel on these tutorials. I don't want to solder. Can you do this without soldering? Yes. I feel like I make it pretty clear that you don't have to solder on all of these. I will tell you to skip to a certain point if you don't want to solder. You don't have to solder. This is, you don't have to solder with this. So, hey, look at me in the eyes. You do not have to solder. So if you don't want to solder, skip to this time. I don't want to have to ever say that way ever again. You guys should know by now. you're old enough. It's always the people who don't actually watch the video. They never watch the video, and so they ask dumb questions, and I don't give them a good answer because I'm that kind of person. If you ask me a question that I answer in the video, that tells me that you didn't watch the video, so I'm not gonna answer it. So don't ask a dumb question, please and thank you. Okay, so this is kind of awkwardly in the way, so I'm gonna undo this cable. We're gonna lift the bail up like so, maybe. Get your fingernail in there, and then you're gonna lift it up and towards you if your board is in this position, away from the ribbon cable, and you can just pull that out. I'm just gonna leave it open for now. We're gonna heat up our soldering iron. I'm gonna put some flux down. Just over those pads there. And then now that we're at 300 degrees Celsius, we can put the tip down, push it in, put the tip down, push it in, put the tip down, push it in. That's fine. Then over here, I'm going to do it to select A and B because that's what they say to do on the instructions. But you can honestly map it to whatever you want. Okay, we'll do it to the vias. You win. You win. Maybe we'll do it to start A and B. We'll do it to start A and B. You can do it to select A and B. I'm going to do it to the vias here. No, screw that. Actually, if you want to solder to the vias to make sure you don't see any wires running down your board when it's all complete, if you're using a clear shell, then here are the vias that link to the corresponding buttons on screen. Thank you, Natalie Nerd, for that graphic. I'm going to use the points down here because I can. There's select, that is P12, P11 is B, and P10 is A. And then tip down and push. Oh dear Lord. I'm gonna hold down the board as we tip down and push and tip down, and I don't need to push because I have a lot of solder on my tip. So I'm gonna clean that off. We can get the wires out. I'm gonna use my tweezers, just make it a little easier. There's select. Maybe. There's B. And come on. There's A. We're all soldered up and good to go. I think that's it. Yeah. I also like to give a little tug on the wires to make sure that they are soldered. Oh, shoot. We're not good to go. We're gonna... Now, we can take this board, and I'll just put it on top over here. Actually, no, it'll reach. So I'm gonna put the board at the top, towards the top. And I'm just gonna grab the corresponding wire. I'll do B to L. Yeah, B to L because it's on the left. It's to the left of A. B will be our L. A will be our R. And select will be our select. And this one's a little farther away. Now we're actually completely done with soldering. I'm going to quickly clean up all of this flux. I have some isopropyl alcohol, 99%. The higher the percent, the better. But 70% will work fine. Just make sure it's all cleared up when you put it back together. Which, by the time we're done with all this, it should be clean. I'm just going to wipe up all these places with flux. since I put some flux up there earlier. Clean that up. And then I'll put this board up top here now. We'll flip it around a little bit. I'm just going to put some IPA on here. Actually, be careful where you're spraying if you're spraying or dropping the IPA. No liquid in the display. No liquid in the display. And doesn't really need to be perfect. It's no clean flux. So, yeah, I've never seen flux that you need to clean, though. I don't know. Maybe that's an older thing. Now, from here, welcome back, you non-solderers. Now would honestly be the time to clean up your board if you haven't already. Do any trimming that you might want to do. I like to trim the cart slot pins just because they can poke, especially with this one. This screen is going to extend way past here, so it might poke through the protective layer that we put on the boards. They are pretty pokey, so I trim them with flush cutters. I'm not doing it here because I've already messed around with this board. I started doing that when I fixed up Game Boys, so yeah. Anyways, from here on out, we can put this connector together. It'll be like this, and it'll go in like a Lego piece. Be very careful, though. If it's not going in, just readjust, because guess what? It only goes in one way, and they're very fragile. Actually, I think you can put it in the wrong way. You definitely want to put it in just like this. There we go. We're in like Ziflin. That is a line from Ant-Man, I think. If you did solder like me and you took this out, then now's the time you are going to want to put the ribbon cable back in and then lock that connector down. There is another peel. It is not labeled, but this is meant to go over the top of this board. And that will insulate it from anything else. It does not stick very well because you have all sorts of wires and bumps all over this. So, but either way, I'm going to flip this over like that, put it off to the side a little bit. And I'm not going to worry about putting the buttons in quite yet. I'm even going to take the D-pad out just so it doesn't distract me at all. Okay, so apparently, oh, that's what these are for. Okay, so apparently they don't do a cutout for the double-sided tape to keep the screen in. So we get to cut it ourselves. I'm just going to do a little bit because this is strong stuff. So I'm just going to do a little bit at the top and a little bit at the bottom. That'll be plenty. Honestly, just that much would be plenty. Everything is peeled. And we're going to flip this over like this. I'm going to peel this peel. There's a lot of peels to peel. And get this out of the way. Like I said, it doesn't stick very well. And then I'm going to push this all the way up against the top. And make sure it's lined up in the middle here. And then, if your insulating film fell off like it did for me, I'm going to take my old IR cover and put that in. Maybe I should have put that in before. Uh-oh. Future Jake here. Put your IR cover in before you stick your screen down. And that's why I didn't put too much tape down. So now that is in there. Should be able to do that. I hate this insulate. I always hate these insulating films. They're so stupid. The ones that go on the screen on a flat surface, they're fine. But the ones that go over the bumps and stuff, just use Kapton tape or something. Man, it's just, it doesn't work ever. And it's so annoying. All right, for you non-solderers and solderers alike, if you would also like the touch pads, you can peel the white pieces off, and you can stick them wherever you will remember to press down on. One of these is for brightness. Don't ask me which one. I'm going to put this one on the IR sensor. The IR cover. I know I just made a big deal about the other one not working. Now we're covering it up. I'm going to stick this one over in this corner here. From here, you can put your buttons and membranes in. A is on the outside, B is on the inside. Remember to trim your D-pad if you need to. It looks like that odd trim job works. I'm going to put our power switch off to the side. We can put our D-pad membrane in here. We can put our A and B membrane in here. And I now have to go grab my start and select buttons. Okay. So these are the bad start and select membranes. I'm going to use them because the D-pad's already not working well. And plus, I just want to see maybe if we use their shells with these membranes, it might work. But these ones that don't have indents in between the buttons usually never work for me. I think like the height is off or something. I don't know, but they suck. Like they legitimately do not work for me when they're fully assembled. I don't get it. So I'm going to put it in for now. But again, you should probably reuse your start and select membranes from your old one unless they're just completely gone. Yeah. Ugh. If your insulating film has fallen off a million times like mine has, you can reinstall that now. Just lightly cover it up, I guess. And then we're going to flip all of this over. Normally, I would... actually, we will do that. An optional step if you have some Kapton tape, which I highly recommend if you're going to do a lot of these. You can cover up the cart slot pins, which would also lock down your wires so they don't go over any buttons. You don't want them to go over any of the buttons. And then you could also use Kapton tape to cover this up. But we're just going to flip this over. Install our speaker. It only slots in one way. Doesn't really matter if it's off though. And then it should maybe not have an audible click, but there it is. It will click into place. And from here, screw it down. Be careful not to touch your screen with your fingers because we do not have a screen lens currently on the screen. And if you don't remember from earlier, this is where our 3 Phillips screws go. There we go. It's always the hardest one to put the screw in there. Once those 3 screws are in, I like to back it off just a quarter turn. That will help with a lot of button presses. And then we can put our screen ribbon cable into that top connector. Make sure you only have a little bit of the gold contacts peeking up. And once you can confirm that that is in, we can lock those 2 tabs down, just the reverse of what we did earlier. Now we can flip over the entire thing. Oh my gosh, it looks so beautiful. No way. And we can get the screen lens ready to go. For the one that comes with it, it's going to look like this. It's going to have an easy peel tab where you can peel that up. And then you can peel around it. It's actually really nice. And then you can just plop that down. It'll only fit in one way. For me, though, I'm using a different one from a different brand. It is OEM sized, so any OEM sized one should fit in here just fine. I don't see why not. It is meant to fit an OEM opening. I'm going to double check before I place this down. There's no dust on the screen. Probably could have blown off the screen lens as well. This is a tight fit on this one. I don't know. Hopefully it's not as tight of a fit on the one that's included. But I also had fitment issues with another shell that I used this lens on. So maybe the ones I got just weren't the best. I don't know. But from here, we can flip it back over. We can put our power switch in. Make sure that it lines up all down there. Otherwise, you might break your power switch. And I think all we got to do is open up the battery hole and we can put down the back half and swap over to our tri-wing. Apparently, it's not tri-wing, it's tri-tip. Oh no. And we can put those 6 tri-wing screws in. Same 6 holes as before. And maybe I'll just throw you to a time lapse this time, you extended cutters. Cool, this looks beautiful, honestly. And we can throw that in there, throw that in there. We can take our sticker and we can peel it as a sign of good luck that this will turn on first try. With absolutely 0 issues, right? Right? Put the battery cover on for good luck as well. And you've got to be kidding me. Well, this is awkward. I don't have time right now to fix it, so does it even... Okay, the red light does turn on. And you extended cut people will actually get to see me fix it. Just not right now for real time, Jake. Because I need to go to Target. And that is not in this city, unfortunately. Now this is exclusively you guys, you second channel people. So I'm probably not going to do as much... Or I'm going to do more editing. That's what I'm trying to say. So I'm just going to cut to me opening this up. And I'm going to have a much lower energy because it's like, yeah, it's 11 at night. So what are we dealing with here? Everything's still working. It's just not displaying. I don't think it's shorting on the touchpad. That'd be ridiculous. I also doubt it's this capacitor. My gut feeling, is that one of these connectors is not in all of the way. So I'm going to check this. I'm also going to extend that cable a little bit more so we have a little bit more room to work with. Just make sure that's in as far as possible. And then I'm going to reseat this. Man, these wires. Maybe I should have used the vias. As much as I like the V2s, this connector sucks. So we're just going to... I'm not going to even try and put the microphone near me as I'm trying to put the microphone near me. I will try to leave this uncut, or at least uncut as possible without it being too boring. But I'm not going to try and get a good angle for you guys to see this. Not much point in me zooming in either. Goodness. I'm going to get the flashlight out. I think that's lined up. Nope. No, it is not. I hate this. Okay. Just going to put my phone over there for now. And I'm also going to make sure... Oh. Microphone. Hello. I'm also going to make sure to see that there is no positive line. I don't see a power line anywhere. So, yeah, that's not an issue either. I don't really know what's wrong other than now I know that this connector is not plugged in at all. Is there a... I don't see a tear or a bend or anything. So, yeah. This is just being a lot of fun right now is all. Because it is so hard to put this connector in when the screen is stuck down. Oh. I just got to complain about it enough and it will go in, apparently. All right. I'm going to take the original back. Of course, I've got screws in both of these, but I don't care if the screws come out of this. I'm just going to put this in like so. I'm going to put batteries in for testing. And please, for the love of God, just work one time for me. Actually, please work every other time from here on out. Hallelujah. One of the cables was just loose. That's it. And unless anything crazy happens, I'm probably just going to cut to the point where it's back together. And we can put the game in there. Well, my test cartridge. It's not really a game. It is a game. Works like a game. Talks like a game. Walks like a game. Okay, anyways. My screen is a little shifted up and a little tilted. I don't know if you can see that. Probably not. Looks like the screen brightness is perfect for my camera settings right now, but we should be able to hold start and B. Okay, we'll start and select. Oh, maybe it's just that these are too short, and that's why I don't like them. I thought they just didn't work at all. Okay, it's actually just they're really short. They don't stick out very much at all. A and B are working. All the buttons are working. D-pad's working great. So my solder fix worked. I wouldn't do the solder fix that I did to the D-pad unless it's for you and you're never going to sell it. Or if you do sell it, you warn the people. But even if you do that, they're probably not going to know what the heck you're talking about. But yeah, I wouldn't recommend it. But it does seem to work for now. I just think it's not as good. But I don't know. I'll let you know in 20 years, I guess. But yeah, this works. I just don't know why. Unless I did do select. Oh, I did do select. I forgot. I thought I did. That's what. Okay, I was going to do start A and B if I was doing the vias, but I didn't. I did do select A and B. Okay. So, interesting. So, holding select and A goes up. So, it's just like. It is just like the Game Boy Advance IPS V2. How did I change the color? Oh, okay. So hold select and A and B, and then it'll change through the colors. Interesting. Yeah, they did as minimal work as they could possibly do for this. And I'm guessing the touchpad, okay. The touchpad I did put on the IR cover is for brightness, and then this one over here is for the color palettes. Cool. I'll have to remember to put that on screen when I edit this. Very nice. Okay. Yeah. I'm not going to bother fixing the centering of the screen because, again, I don't think I'm really going to play this ever. Eventually, I'll do the whole, overview, the comparison for GBC. That's really the only reason I did this kit in the first place. It's fine. It's just like, I don't know. I feel like the Q5, the funny playing version of this, or not version of this kit, the Q5 funny playing screen is just the best. I think the settings from the high-speed Edo Q5 are better. I do love me a good V2, but I don't know. I'm just curious how it stacks up in like battery life and stuff. I think it's stupid that you have to trim the D-pad, not just the shell. You have to trim the D-pad to do this. That is ridiculous. But I guess it's not really their fault. It's not anything they could do. They're just like, yeah, we want to use the screen. And it's a known good screen. I'm sure this has been around for like a long time. But yeah, I don't know. Screen's fine. Looks good. At least my logo looks good. The buttons, they're kind of the cheap buttons, but they're actually rounded. The harsher corner ones for the D-pad are like usually a sign of the cheaper plastic. The start and select membranes are the worst ones. Yeah, I'd probably use the shell, but I'd probably buy separate buttons if I were to do this again. I just don't like the color. The D-pad is fine. Start and select, The membranes for all the other buttons are fine. I don't really like the A and B look. I think they're a little too light of a gray color. Oh, way too light of a color. Way too light. Okay. Plus, these are matte. That's what's off. These are shiny. They're glossy. These are a matte color. D-pad looks fine, though. It's a little too light. Overall, I don't know why I'm being so picky about this. I'm usually not that picky. This is disgusting, though. That they could do way better on the sticker. I know they can do better than that. That is bad. That is bad. The print is crooked. I thought my sticker was crooked. No, my print on the sticker is crooked. I did a good job placing it. Wow. Okay. That's a little upsetting. But hey, yeah. Shell, I guess the plastic of the shell does feel a little cheap. It look it looks fine. I don't know. This is not their best work. I like High Speedy though. This is not their best work. It's not terrible, but it's not their best. I know they can do better. But, there are better kits out there, and their other kits come with better shells. So, yeah. I don't really know how to end this one.